Now, I'm just glad that Tatiana had people around her to help her and support her, because I don't know if she would have survived all of this if it weren't for people like her best friend Lisa and her sister Aurora. They were the ones who got her to the hospital and got her diagnosed in the first place with that fentanyl poisoning. Now, yes, her sister ended up getting a target put on her back for her efforts, but she did the right thing, and she very likely saved her sister's life. Tatiana even appeared on Lisa's podcast, Faith with Friends, where she gave her take on all of this.
And that really just breaks your heart. But God is close to the brokenhearted, it says in the Bible. So I turned to friends, I turned to family, and ultimately God was the one who just kind of mended my heart. He mended my wounds, and there's going to be suffering, and I've gone through not only relationship suffering, but I've gone through physical suffering, and again, Jesus was there.
Now, you can probably tell from the dates that I've thrown out there that this case is still active. The investigation is ongoing. None of the people who Sergio allegedly hired to kill his wife have gone to trial yet, but I can tell you that all 9 of them have been indicted. Now, I will say this too. Sadly, even though Sergio is dead, and technically he shouldn't be able to hurt Tatiana anymore, he's still making her life difficult from beyond the grave. Because just one day before he took his own life, probably knowing already what he planned to do, he changed his will. He made it so that she would inherit nothing. Sort of his final, F off to his wife. And he didn't just update his will. He got all of his affairs in order. He moved money around to different accounts. He signed paperwork naming other people as the new owners of different businesses and different accounts. And he literally calculated how much he would owe on a bunch of different bills in the next couple of months. Then he set that money aside so that whoever inherited his money after his death would be able to keep everything running smoothly. He also changed the documents for his companies so that instead of co-owning everything 50-50 with Tatiana, he was the sole owner. It was so cold and so calculating from a man who was literally less than 24 hours away from taking his own life. His main goal was to just shut his wife out of everything. And I don't know exactly how all of that works. I would imagine that even with your business, it's like a bank account. If you're 50-50 on something, doesn't the other person have to sign it or acknowledge it or be able to counter that? Maybe there's some other inner workings that I don't know about where she is fighting this, but it doesn't seem like somebody can just change all of their stuff to be the sole owner and ice somebody out without their knowledge, right? And in fact, her lawyers are fighting this, and they're trying to use the evidence of him trying to have her killed as part of this, saying look, this was all part of his master plan, his whole thing to attack her, to leave her with nothing. And they're going, through all the courts, all the laws, all the motions, all the things, trying to fight this, but it is a pretty messy situation.
If they own property jointly, as tenants by the entireties, as husband and wife, then what would happen is the wife would automatically be entitled to all of the assets that were owned in that fashion.